Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
FightSaga.com presents Royal Week Radio Chats with boxing scribe Joseph Heron.
Guys, welcome. Happy Wednesday to all of you. And I tell you what, I'm just going to be on here for a short while. I just wanted to give good tidings to all of our World Week Radio extended family members. And I wanted to give some brief notes on what we saw today from the media workout at Gleason's Gym in New York City between Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius, as well as Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell. Yeah. That not so much. I'm mostly focused on the heavyweight matchup on Saturday night, right? Yeah, you know what? And it's funny. For some strange people, for strange reason, not a lot of people seem to be really dialed in on this heavyweight matchup. They seem to think that Robert Helenius is going to be a walkover, and I can't blame them, especially if you saw today's media workout. I want to give a shout out to my brother, John McSmith. Thank you so much for joining, sir. And don't mind if I do. I've got some sweet amber right in front of me. If any of you guys are indulging at this time, please do a shout with me down the hatch. God bless all of you. Yes. And I tell you what, now it's funny. First, Robert Helenius, he came out and he did his thing. Quick notes, though, right? When you look at Robert Helenius and you saw him doing his media workout, first thing that came to my mind was, man, he looks slow. Like when I saw the media workout for the Adam Kovnowski fight, he looked more spriteful. He didn't look as heavy. He looks about 270 right now. Okay, maybe that's just my mind playing tricks on me, but I don't think so. Take a little sweet green. Nothing wrong with that, my friend. Tell you what, that's not my flavor of choice, but hey, man, the more the merrier, and to each his own, brother. Have fun with that. Yeah, I always indulge in some sweet amber, especially while I'm doing this show. It makes everything better. But I tell you what, I'll give a shout out to my brother Tycho TV. Thank you for joining me, sir, on this very quick edition of World Week Radio Chats. But yeah, first thing I noticed, Robert Helenius looks very slow, and he looks heavy. He looks about 270. Well, somewhere in between 260, 270, that's how he looks. But you know what? I don't want to say that's uncommon for a big man. He's 6'8", 6'8", right? But it was the hand speed, the footwork. And, once again, this is only a media workout. So perhaps he's one of those gentlemen like Evander Holyfield in years past who never really looked great in media workouts as well. He never did. And give a shout out to my brother Carlos Mendoza. He says, Helenius is a bum. Wilder beats him easy, and these channels gonna make it out like Wilder KO'd an elite top 5 heavyweight. These channels, oh boy. Well, one, you are discounting Robert Helenius. He's here for a reason, right? And I know you seem to think that this reason is because, well, he's made to order for a guy like Deontay Wilder. Well, apparently he was viewed as made to order for Adam Kovnowski in 2 fights. Right? Now, keep in mind, Adam Kovnowski was undefeated going into this. the first fight with Robert Helenius, and it was staged at the Prudential Center, where there's a big Polish population, and he was a big ticket seller. Okay, they served Robert Helenius up on a silver platter like he was there for the picking. Well, it didn't work out that way. This is heavyweight boxing, brother. And if you want to discount someone like Robert Helenius as well as any of these top 20 fighters, well, then you know, and once again, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. Not you, Carlos, specifically. God bless you, brother, and thank you for joining us. And we appreciate your candor. But boxing fans, diehards especially as a whole, for somewhere, some way, right? They've been fooled into thinking that it's a more enlightened way and a more intelligent way of viewing the sport by shitting all over it and its participants. Quite the contrary, brother. It means you really don't know what the fuck you're looking at. And yes, sorry I dropped the F-bomb, but that's the truth, right? Especially in the heavyweight division, right? But I will say this, Robert Helenius, he looked slow. He looked old, and he looked heavy. Now, we fast forward to a couple minutes later. He exits the ring, right? And in steps Deontay Wilder, and he stretches and starts working out, and boy, he looks svelte. He looks to be back about 220, 225, like he did before the Tyson Fury fights, like Tyson Fury won. He looked svelte. He looked very athletic. He looks fast. And here are the two things that I was looking for, right? Before I move forward and give you what I was looking for, right? Hold on. John McSmith says, legal where I am. I'm glad, brother. Very good. And he says, John McSmith, Helenius has been cracked twice already. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but so is Deontay Wilder. And that's the big intangible going into this that no media workout's going to show us. How are these gentlemen, how is their durability? Is Robert Helenius coming in heavy intentionally to try and maintain a high level of durability against arguably the hardest puncher in the division? Is it going to serve him well in this contest? Not sure after watching the media workout, but once again, guys, what the media workout doesn't show you is their durability. And after getting knocked out twice, Deontay Wilder twice consecutively, is he going to have the same level of durability that he had going into those last two Tyson Fury fights? Guys, that's a big unknown. We have no idea. And whether you like him or not, Helenius continues to be one of the hardest punchers in the division. He has been for the last 10 years, right? And once again, you're going to look at Deontay Wilder. He's not going to be punching down on his opponent. He's going to be punching up. He's got an inch on Deontay Wilder. Let's give a shout out to some of our dear friends before we move forward. And once again, I'm going to tell you what I was looking for when I saw Deontay Wilder's workout. And once again, when you see fighters warming up before a fight, most of the time, and media workouts as well, most of the time they're not going to show you anything because they know the media is there as well as their opposition. They know people are looking at them. And so often when you see them backstage in their locker room warming up, doing pads, they'll often put a towel over the camera back there so no one can see what they're doing. Because if you notice and if you look at fighters, and they'll often slip up, and their trainers, they will show you exactly what combinations they've been working on in preparation for the fight, which is why you will see often fighters put towels and cover up those cameras in the back. They'll often do that, right? That's a common practice. And when they say, okay, we're going to go ahead and go live on the big screen, HBO or DAZN or Showtime, we're going to go live, ESPN, we're going to go live right now to show you working out. They will switch to their vanilla, just 1-1-2, 1-1-2, and not really show you anything that they're going to do in the fight. But sometimes they'll slip, right? And they will actually show their hand before the fight. And I think in this case, Deontay Wilder just did with his trainer, Malik Scott. And I'll expand on this in just a minute. El Pinche Bunch, thank you for joining me, sir. God bless you, brother. Saludos, hermanos. Salutes to you, my friend. CB3, salute to you, brother. Thank you so much for joining me, my friend. Let's see. Helenius has zero defense. Wilder will walk right up and punch him in the face. He may not. We're going to have to see. That's why they fight the fights. But I will give you my final because I think I changed my prediction after watching the media workout. And maybe I'm just looking too far into things, but that wouldn't have been the first time, right? So I want to give a shout out also to my brother Tyrese Bowie. Helenius better walk him close to the distance. We'll see what happens, man. John McSmith says, this is a fast first round knockout for Wilder. And John also says, really? They hide it? That seems lame. No, because they especially in media workouts, their opposition is usually in attendance. And if they're not immediately in attendance, some of their team sticks around to watch their opponent, right? That's a common practice, guys, because they're looking for anything to give them an advantage and to see what possibly they've been working on in the gym. It happens all the time, guys. At least every smart team does this. Every team that I've been a part of, yeah, that's what they do, right? I want to give a shout out also to my brother, ECB DeVoe. Good evening, Mr. Heron, and all the chat. Good evening to you, my brother. Thank you for always supporting War Week Radio. Okay, guys, so what I saw with Deontay Wilder, he looked fast. He looked nimble. More importantly, and this is the most important thing, and this was my biggest dilemma, because Deontay Wilder, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but after his success in the second Luis Ortiz fight, in which he was the counterpuncher and he countered the counterpuncher, he forced Luis Ortiz to uncharacteristically take the lead. Because everyone knows that Cuban fighters, they're prolific counterpunchers and they wait till you give them an opening before they let your hands go. And Frank Sanchez is also going to be on the card, and he's going to show you exactly that. He's not going to let his hands go until his opponent does. And that's customarily what Luis Ortiz does. But in that second fight, Deontay Wilder was very patient, and he forced Luis Ortiz off the ropes into something he's not fond of doing customarily, and that's becoming the aggressor, right? And so when he had success dropping 6 rounds and then getting the sensational knockout because he found that opening, was able to time him in the 7th round, knocking him out with one big right hand, well, he adopted that mentality of being a counterpuncher, right? And that's what he did, and that was ultimately his undoing against Tyson Fury. You cannot time someone who has the consistent feinting motion that Tyson Fury does with the feet, with the hands, with the upper body, with the head. He could not time him accurately. And that's why you saw Fury pretty much dominate all 3 fights, winning the great majority of the rounds with just a couple of lapses of focus, right? You saw Fury, and he almost paid dearly for it, and it was a great fight. 1, 2, and 3, right? So what I saw, and I think Deontay and Malik learned from that, and understanding that Robert Helenius, that's his stock in trade. He's a counterpuncher by trade, guys. He waits for you to come in, and he usually slides off the ropes, moves his upper body and head behind the high guard, and he'll try to roll and counter you off the ropes as you're coming in, or he'll roll uppercut, right, as you're coming in. Well, one thing that Deontay Wilder implemented, and my gosh, wouldn't you know it, never drives down my road, but there's an ice cream truck. I'm out in my patio, right, and an ice cream truck, and I'm sure you guys can hear it. He's driving down my street. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, thank God he turned. But anyway, what I was looking for, and I'm like, look, if Deontay Wilder doesn't fight behind a more intelligent jab and apply more intelligent pressure, and what I mean by intelligent jab, implementing feints, touch jabs, hard sticking jabs to the body, chest, and head, while feinting with his upper body, feinting with his head, feinting with his feet, he's going to be in trouble. Robert Helenius is going to time him like a clock, and this is going to be a war. But lo and behold, yeah, they actually showed their hand. That's exactly what they've been working on. You saw uncharacteristically in this media workout, Deontay Wilder use foot feints, upper body and head movement, short feint jabs, long stab jabs. That's exactly what they're planning on doing. They're going to once again adopt the role. One thing he's best at, being more assertive and being the aggressor. And after watching that, watching the difference in speed, watching the difference in size, yeah, I think and once again, we don't know how durable both fighters are at this point. Because once again, the mitts, the heavy bag, the swim noodles, they don't hit back. And that's the most interesting thing about the heavyweight division. It always has been. It's a theater of the unexpected, right? But if I'm looking at both fighters right now, I'm changing my pick. And once again, I always pick Deontay, but I thought it was going to be a very difficult fight. In my opinion, if he goes after Robert Helenius early, I think John McSmith may have the beat. I think this one is an easy fight for Deontay. He looks so much faster, so much more agile, so much more athletic. And as long as he uses and implements those feints and applies that intelligent pressure against Robert Helenius, I think he's going to knock him out within the first 2 or 3 rounds. That's my official pick now, guys, after watching that media workout. Once again, the difference in size and in weight was apparent. Robert Helenius looks to be between 265 and 270. Deontay Wilder looked about 50 pounds lighter, about 220 to 225. He looked svelte. He looked athletic, and he looked spriteful, energetic. He looked really good. And yes, Sly Tendencies had the beat. Says, Big Joe, Wilder looking fluid. You know what? Daddy did. And, Coach Ronnie and I with Young Bill, we were talking about it last night. We were saying, you know what? This could be a war, because I don't think after getting face planted in his last fight and going to war with Tyson Fury, taking those bombs for 11 rounds, I don't think he's going to have the same level of durability. But to be honest with you, watching both fighters today, I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think Robert Helenius is going to be able to time this version of Deontay Wilder. He looked way too fast, way too athletic. And guys, we've seen Deontay Wilder at 220, 225, even lighter than that, and it's never hindered his ability to punch, the amount of torque he puts behind that right hand. Guys, this is going to be a real problem for the Nordic Nightmare. In fact, yeah, I'm changing you know what, guys? If you're looking for the bet, and if you actually want to make some money on Deontay Wilder, because right now he's at a plus 800, or I'm sorry, a minus 800, minus 900. Guys, look at the plus 300. Pick him to knock out the Nordic Nightmare within 3 rounds. In my opinion, that's the safe bet. I want to give my brother a shout out, Boxing Source. You know, Boxing Source, I'm only going to be on here for a little bit because I'm expecting a friend to have some company. But, dude, if you have your headphones, my friend, I'm going to drop the link. And please share the air with me for just a bit, man, if you can. Always have a lot of respect for James. He's always very intelligent. He's one of the hardest working men in the boxing business. Sly also says, I'm wondering about his chin. But no matter what I say, Wilder always lands in every single fight. Yes, he does. And once again, you have every right to be wondering about his chin. And I think that's the most intriguing thing about this matchup. Right? No one knows, and that's the biggest intangible. No one knows if he's going to have the same level of durability. Guys, at this time, I'd like to welcome my brother James from the Boxing Source. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, doing good, Joe. Just checking in here. Know you said you'd be in just for a little bit, so yeah, I ain't gonna be on for that long either. You know what I'm saying?
Very good. So what were your thoughts? Did you see the same things I did in this media workout today?
Pretty much. I'm kind of like having that early knockout type of vibe with this one.
Yep.
I should be in attendance for that fight, so I'll be watching the whole card. See as much as the card as possible, but I'm kind of like interested in some of the fights that are in the pay-per-view portion, especially the opening bout there where they're gonna have Gary Antonio Russell there.
Yeah, at 115. That's going to be a great fight, brother. I'm really looking forward to that guy. James, hold that thought, sir. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce another very hardworking individual within the boxing industry, the incomparable young billionaire. Young Bill, how you doing, sir?
Big Joe! What's up, Boxing Source? How you doing, champ? How you feel, Big Joe? What did you think about the workout?
Dude, I loved it. Honestly, you know what? I'm actually worried now for the Nordic Nightmare. I'm actually looking at this, and there's such a huge disparity in speed and athleticism in this. And it's obvious that Malik Scott with Deontay Wilder worked on all the right things in preparation for this fight. Now, once again, I was looking at it, and sometimes and often you won't see a fighter and trainer show their hand before the fight, but I think in this case they did. Uncharacteristically, you saw Deontay Wilder use foot feints, head feints, hand feints. I mean, he was using feints. So I think they're going to try to be more assertive, even though an understanding that their opponent is a prolific and very intelligent, experienced counterpuncher. They're going to do everything they can to disrupt his timing and rhythm. And with Deontay's athleticism that he displayed at this media workout, and you look at the disparity, Robert Helenius looked every bit of 270. Deontay Wilder looked every bit of 220. And the difference in speed and athleticism was apparent. But look, and James, you know this, man. In all fairness, and I mentioned this earlier, in all fairness, he could be one of those guys that just shows up, just goes through the motions, doesn't show you very much on the media workout like Evander Holyfield used to. Do you remember Evander Holyfield never looked great in any media workout? He always looked sluggish. He always looked lethargic. And you're like, is something wrong with him? Is he sick? And then all of a sudden he shows to the fight and he looks like Evander Holyfield. Right? So could that be the case with Robert Helenius? James, I'll give you your first opportunity to respond to that, man.
My thing with Helenius is that it's more about if he's going to be able to take a punch, because I really don't see where, like you said, I mean, he doesn't have the speed advantage. He really doesn't have the height advantage. Wilder is younger. I know that, he showed foot feints and hand feints and things like that. But, he would be able to do that, but he'll be able to get away with that against Robert Helenius, who's going to be right there in front of him.
Well, you know what? I think if he just tried to walk through the front door without, in the immortal words of Teddy Atlas, putting bugs on the windshield, I think that would be a serious problem for Deontay Wilder. And once again, say what you want about Helenius. One, he can punch. He's got the gift of those heavy hands. And two, he's very good at sliding off the ropes and countering with that strange, awkward 45 that he throws underneath. So you don't see it coming. Young Bill, am I wrong about that?
No, you're not. And Joe, the first public workout he did, the media workout he did in Vegas before he resumed training to Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
I seen him live, Joe. He was doing the same thing. Foot feints, head feint. Probing with the jab, lateral movement. Yeah, I haven't seen Deontay Wilder work on lateral movement in that capacity.
No, he was pivoting And when he would fire off a shadow combination, he would pivot as soon as he would move his head and he would pivot. Like he's been like I will say this, Malik Scott has been doing a great job with Deontay Wilder.
I told you that, Joe. That's why I said I think he's going before. Like when you asked me, this is a dangerous fight. I told you he's going to knock Helenius the hell out. It's not going to be dangerous for him because of the way that Malik Scott is training him, Joe.
You know what, brother? This has made a believer out of that. Like I believe that 100% now. Like where I was thinking this was going to be a potential war. And once again, there still remains that intangible of durability that we don't know, but I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think he's going to get touched in this fight. I think this is going to be a short night for both men, and I can see Robert Helenius getting starched within 2 or 3 rounds, maybe even the first.
Yeah, Joe, I don't see it going past 5 rounds, and that's not because Robert Helenius doesn't present anything. But Joe, he looked every bit his age, and he looked every bit of 270. And Wilder is back.
He didn't he?
Wilder, Joe, Wilder's back to his pre-Fury. Seemed to be 220, low 220s, high 218 to 223 in that range, Joe. And when he's that mobile and he's pivoting, keeping his head off the line and working off the jab, Joe, and taking the lead, not waiting to, like you told me about the counter punching. Style that he took in the Luis Ortiz rematch, like you said, that would be dangerous. But if he takes the lead and pivots, works off the lateral movement, and keeps Robert Helenius busy, I don't think he's gonna ever be in danger to see if his chin is vulnerable still, Joe. I don't think we're going to see that tested this fight.
I agree. And you know what, guys? Once again, my safe bet, the Fight Saga official safe bet for this fight, take Deontay Wilder within 3 rounds by way of knockout. It's still at a plus 300 on MGM bet. Right? Take it. Guys, that's easy money. After looking at these two guys, yeah. But once again, this is indeed the theater of the unexpected of the heavyweight division. James, what's your final prediction, brother, before we say good night, my friend?
I mean, I thought it was pretty surprising that, Helenius came in there looking like that, given what he was saying in reference to preparing for this fight, that he was already, there in the Brooklyn area like weeks before the fight. So he had been in camp, try to, get used to being around that atmosphere. But even with that, he still is, like you say, about 260, 270, it looks like. So he's going to be very slow. He's going to be putting his earmuffs on early, but it still won't matter. I still see an early knockout win for Deontay Wilder for this.
Guys, we could see another performance like Berman Stivern 2. And before we actually invite our next friend onto the panel, I want to give a big shout out to my brother Toby Bartlett. Foot feints from Wilder and one huge feint from Helenius, Nighty Night. Yep, you've got the beat, brother. Guys, at this time, it's a pleasure to welcome for the first time, I think, my brother Sly Tendencies to the panel.
Big Sly!
What's up, Sly?
Hey, guys, can you hear me? You're not getting no feedback, right?
ST!
No, it's perfect, sir. You sound loud and clear, my friend.
All right. I'm only coming on to play devil's advocate, right? I'm going to pretend that I'm the biggest Helenius fan ever, right? So here we go. And counter me. Like if I'm off, just hit me right back, all right? So in the third Fury fight, Wilder came out in the first round. He was throwing that long jab. He was looking great. He was breaking the clinches. He was doing everything. But the second that he got hit, he went back to what he normally does, right?
You know what, brother? I was thinking the exact same thing. That's why I said this is a heavyweight fight, and it is the theater of the unexpected. That's the biggest knock on Wilder. He looks like he has a strategy until he gets cracked in the noggin with a serious one. And then all of a sudden, it's a brawl. It's a fight. You throw everything out the window. So that's a very astute point, Sly.
Also, and look, I think Wilder being back look, because everybody, I don't want people to think I love Deontay Wilder. I didn't like all the, the stuff with the. Anyway, we won't even go there because it'll just open a big can of worms, excuses and stuff. But you know what I'm saying. The things I'm thinking about, though, and look, this could all be, hot air. But what I'm thinking about as well is that if you go back to a lot of his fights, and this is not a knock on him, because if you can get away with it, do it. He ate lots of shots. He would rely a lot on his chin. If you look at the first Luis Ortiz fight, he took so many shots, and even in the second fight. He was taking a lot of shots because he was trying to line up the right hand.
That's right.
And what I'm worrying about is, can he do that now? Obviously, Helenius isn't like as dynamic as other people, but can he depend on his chin the way that he did back then? And I don't know that. We're gonna find out. I know he did take a good amount of time off, and I'm glad that he did, because he really needed to get that rest. And he had surgery in the second before that, after the second fight, and he's had a lot of time, and he looks really good, and he's doing a lot of really good stuff. He's with the pivots and stuff, and the head movement is there. But I'm just wondering, like, has he had enough time to train to move backwards?
Well,
and that's what I'm wondering. Helenius, he's a sandbag master. Oh, he looks like he's fat and out of shape. But when the fight happens, he can walk him down with all that body weight. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Robert Helenius never, if you look at his fights, he never walks anyone down. He's a guy who will just sit back and he'll try to poke you as you're coming in, closing the distance. And look, if you look at what they've been working on, and Young Bill was a testament to this in Vegas, and then we were a testament to this in his media workout today. Obviously, they don't want to test that strategy of just using his chin as his primary defense, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to rely on that durability, whether or not it's going to be there. If you look at everything that he's been working on, the upper body movement, the pivots, the feint movement, the upper body and head movement, that was actually quite surprising. I've never seen that from Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
So
that was always my knock, and people would get. Yeah.
So they're working on not testing his chin against one of the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division, Robert Helenius.
Yeah, and big shout out to because look, even before the third Fury fight, I got to give Malik Scott his credit. I mean, we haven't seen him yet, but he did a lot for him in the Wilder fight too. Like, I never seen Wilder throwing body jab. So
he looked very good up until that third round, didn't he?
Yep. And he got when you get cracked a lot of times, the game plan does go out the window. But I was thinking about that though, like, maybe he's, because I seen the Boxing Source Now interview where he said he's going to adopt the Fury tactics, but I really, really believe that Fury is just a guy, man. He's that big and that fluid, that speed.
He's a chameleon. He's a freak. Yeah. Like boxing hasn't seen this anyone like Tyson Fury. Like, he's almost 6'10". He moves extremely well. Not only his feet, but his upper body. He's got great hand speed. He's a very smart guy in the ring. And when he's having a bad day at the office, but he'll do whatever it takes to adapt and overcome. And we've seen that before. Like, that's not Robert Helenius. Like, not even close. Yep, I don't even think that's Deontay Wilder. In fact, I don't see anyone beating Tyson Fury. As long as he's motivated, and even when he isn't. Admittedly, he had 2 terrible camps in his last 2 fights. And he still dominated both of those fights.
Yeah,
so let's just get Tyson Fury out of the conversation, because he is hands down the best heavyweight of this era, right?
Absolutely, Joe. Say that one more time. Repeat that.
He is the best heavyweight of this era. Sly, by the way, man, I love your avatar, brother. Yep, I'm a Hulkster, man. Okay, James, come on, one time, do it, man. Let's hear your Hulk impression, brother.
Well, you know something, Hulkamaniacs. I'm coming in here with 24-inch tripods, and what you gonna do when Hulk Hogan runs wild on you?
Woo!
I can pull a bumper off a Cadillac, Jack.
Oh, I love it. And, okay, so Sly, just for shits and giggles, what's your favorite version? Are you a Hulkster, Or are you
Man.
a Hollywood? Or are you a Hollywood Hogan fan?
Man, I'll tell you what. The hallmark of a good wrestler is that
Yes.
he can make him if he's good and he can kayfabe, like he can either make you love him or make him hate him. And I'll tell you what,
No,
Hulk Hogan
that's a
has made
legend
me
right
do
there.
both.
Yep. I tell you what. You know what? Don't you miss the days when kayfabe was alive and well, and people used to adhere to that fantasy universe?
You know, it wasn't that big of a thing to use your imagination. Like there's an old saying from this guy Dutch Mantel who used to wrestle. He said, "I liked it better when the marks were in the seats and not in the ring."
That's right.
What was it?
That's right. That's very well
WCW
said.
like really blurred the lines where, you know, they brought in a guy like Goldberg and they're like, oh, and Goldberg, who doesn't know how to wrestle at all, was
None.
thinking like, oh, I can beat everybody up in real life. And he didn't understand that he only looked good because those guys were letting him win.
That's right. He was the baby face. That's right. And
Yep.
I tell you what though, man. I'm sorry, James. Go ahead, sir.
Now, what Slide Tendencies was saying in reference to Hulk Hogan and a kayfabe thing, where you could be, you know, kind of like a tweener, like the start of Hogan's career, become the biggest face in the sport of wrestling, and then turn right around and say, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff would be selling meat from a truck in Minneapolis.
I love
Yep.
those days. You know what? I love those days. Very, very curious though. And we're going to go back to the chat for just 1 minute. Want to give a shout out to my brother Tony's Reviews. Welcome to the show, sir. And he says, the likelihood of this fight ending early is very low. Helenius was Wilder's sparring partner, and Wilder's power will be nothing new to him. Well, they're going to be using 10-ounce gloves, not 18 or 16. It'll be a 7th to 9th round knockout KO, more than likely. And you know what? That very well may be the case. But once again, guys, and I'm gonna say this to you guys. Now, maybe I'm just old, but this is the appeal and the allure of the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
You really don't know how the hell this is going to turn out.
Exactly.
You really don't, guys, because one punch can change everything. And both guys are huge men. Both guys have knockout power. Both guys, these are two of the biggest punchers in the division, right? This is the allure of this fight. And look, very quickly, young Bill. Now, we're not going to talk very much about Devin Haney versus George Kambosos because from what you've seen, okay, well, first of all, before I finish my thought, let me give a shout out to my brother, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Sean. I love you, brother. And but look, young Bill, is it just me or does George Kambosos already look like a defeated man going into this fight?
He looks deflated, Joe.
Yep.
But maybe he could be playing possum. I'm gonna do what Sly did last time to play devil's advocate. Maybe he could be trying to lure Devin in and make him, you know, have him be an overconfident fighter, and that could be maybe George Kambosos really trained hard. He said he was sleeping in the gym. You know, this guy said he didn't do any interviews really. He wasn't talking a lot. He wasn't on social media. So maybe he took this rematch seriously. But from the looks of it, Joe, I have to agree with you. I think you have to beat.
He looks like a defeated man. And look. I don't give a shit if you sleep in the gym and you stay there the entire time. That old saying, practice makes perfect. No, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you're practicing all the wrong things, it's not going to make a bit of difference in the fight. You've got to be improving. And once again, does he even know how to cut off the ring and close the distance effectively? I haven't seen it. And that's exactly what he has to do to beat Devin Haney. In my opinion, that is the most, I think that's the least appealing fight of the weekend.
Yeah, I had
right? In my opinion.
I had something real quick on what Slide Tendency said earlier in reference to the devil's advocate. And it's a very good point because we're talking about Deontay Wilder that's coming off of, 2 consecutive losses, 2 consecutive stoppage losses, where his momentum had been pretty much taken all the way out by those last 2 fights. Now, in comparison, or something that's very similar, is Robert Helenius is involved in someone that had a lot of momentum going up into his fight against Robert Helenius, which was soon after the second Fury Wilder fight, and that was against Adam Kalnacki. So
Yep.
at that fight, in March of 2020, he goes in there. Barclays Center is a pro Helenius, I mean not Helenius, but a pro Kalnacki crowd, and he goes in there and he takes the punches from Kalnacki. He comes right back and he just busts him up. And then he did it again in the second fight, and Kalnacki hasn't been the same since. We saw that against Ali Demirizov.
Yeah, look, Kalnacki.
Let's be clear here. Kalnacki, Helenius in that fight was set up to lose.
Yeah, look, guys. Yeah. Kalnacki, and this is from Joe Goosen. He says, look, my guy, Chris Arreola, went to war with Adam Kalnacki. And in my opinion, that's what did him in. He's never been the same since. He didn't look the same against Helenius. And once again, not taking anything away from Robert Helenius, but yeah, you look like that rock had been cracked in half. He didn't have the same durability. Yeah. He looked flat. He looked like but anyway, he didn't look like the Adam Kalnacki before the Chris Arreola fight.
Yeah.
Okay. So and so my final thoughts on this, and once again, young Bill, I want to pick your brain on this. My final thoughts on this, in my opinion, this fight is going to be determined by the mental strength of either fighter. Is Robert Helenius just happy to be here? Or does he view this as his last opportunity to achieve boxing immortality, to achieve greatness, his last attempt at the brass ring? Is that, because this is, and in my opinion, and let me ask you something, is Deontay Wilder, does he still have that alpha male mentality? Does he still have that? Is he still brimming with confidence? Because you talked to him, and he was such a nice, affable guy that seemed to be kind of just happy to be back in the mix, didn't he?
Yeah, you know what, Joe? But only thing he had his mind on, to me, was Helenius. He said, I want a world title. He said, I want to be champion again. He said, I can't retire and be at peace if I don't get the belt back. That's what he said. So for me, he said, if I don't become a 2-time champion, I wouldn't feel right and I wouldn't be at peace. So that's why he said he came back. He said, of course, I thought about retirement, thought about giving it, just finding something else to do with my time. And, I made enough money. But he said, what I'm doing now is not money driven because I already have enough money to take care of my family. This is more so about redemption. He said he feels like he has a second run in him. And he said when he rested up and healed up, he said that he really felt like he can take over the heavyweight division, especially with Fury retiring, especially with, coming back in, retiring, coming to fight here and there, with Usyk. Well, he said you never know what Fury's going to do.
I tell you what, young Bill, and I do have to skedaddle now. I do have to call it a night. But in my opinion, guys, now, once again, the physical attributes, when you look at the media workout, advantage Deontay Wilder. But in my opinion, we're going to find out very quickly who the alpha male in the ring is on Saturday night. And in my opinion, the mental makeup of both men, that's going to determine everything. This is going to be a mental fight. Who's going to be the strongest mental fighter in that ring? Who's going to be the alpha male on the night? Is Robert Helenius just happy to be there? Or is he looking to grab that brass ring? Is he looking to overturn the apple cart against the clear odds favorite? I tell you what, that's going to determine everything. But guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. We'll start with Sly Tendencies. Tell us where to reach you, brother, and thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast, my friend.
No problem, man. Bill knows where you can reach me. You can find me. No, I'm kidding. I'm everywhere, man. I'm on H's. I haven't been able to come on as much, but I support everybody's channel. If you got a channel, I'll subscribe. I'll turn notifications on, and I'll tell everybody I know to jump on it. And I'm telling you, I think if this thing don't end in the first 2 rounds, we're going to have Ron Lyle versus Foreman 2.
I love it. I love it. Let's hope for that,
Hey.
brother, because that would be thrilling for the fans. Boxing Source, James and Sly, thank you so much for being an integral part of this broadcast.
See
my
you,
friend.
Bill, James. Take it easy, Joe.
God
All
bless
right,
you, my
Sly.
friend. James, where can we reach you, brother? You always do such great work. And guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to James and the Boxing Source. James, where can we see you?
The Boxing Source on social media, all across the board. And my last or my parting message is this: some may cost a little, some may cost a lot, but I'm the $1 million man, and you will be back. Yeah.
Oh, the Ted DiBiase. I love it. Dude, is Virgil standing right by you, brother? James, it's always a pleasure, brother.
So he went face. So he's not with me.
James, it's
James,
always a
check social
privilege and an
media,
honor,
man.
brother. It's a great chopping up for you. How can we reach you, man, on social media?
The Boxing Source on YouTube, the Boxing Source on Facebook, the Boxing Source on Instagram, and Boxing Source at Boxing Source 2 on Twitter.
My
Hey,
man,
James, I
James,
just
thank
reached
you
out
so
to you,
much,
man.
brother.
Hey, thank you. Hey, James, I just reached out to you on IG, man. So I'm I just messaged
All right,
you,
for
man.
sure.
Thank you. It's great sharing the airways with you, brother.
Gotcha, for sure.
Always a
Yeah.
class. Thank you, brother. Always a gentleman. Thank you so much, James. Young Bill, how do we find you, brother? As if we don't already know.
Young Billionaire Boxing. Young Billionaire Boxing. Find me at Ronnie Shields Gym. Find me at San Antonio with Joe. Find me at Halftime Pizza with Chris Salad.
God bless you,
Chris
Young
Salad,
Bill.
Joe, and Cold
Hey,
Beer.
Young Bill, once again, I was having connectivity issues yesterday. Thank you for saving my ass more than once, brother, on our Ronnie Shields show. And once again, brother, don't be such a stranger, man. We missed you on the show, man. It's always better to share the air with the both of you. Thank you for everything, Young Bill. You did a great job last night. And if you guys haven't heard it yet, go check out Ronnie Shields' show with Young Bill and I. We had so much fun yesterday doing his Fact or Fiction, and it's still up on my channel. And Young Bill, thank you for everything, my friend. You're amazing,
You,
dude.
Joe, man. Can't wait to share the airways with you in person and on YouTube, Joe. But God bless and have a great night. And, tell Margie I said hello. Tell Mom, everybody.
I sure will,
good
my
night,
friend.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, my brother. And once again, always a gentleman, both James and Young Bill. And guys, on behalf of James and Young Bill, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
FightSaga.com presents War a Week Radio Chats with boxing scribe Joseph Heron.